3, 2, 1. Nil. On air, 2x, stand by for upstop Bravo. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, X1, XQ.
اما را فرموش فراری اینجاست تا درباره آخرین تحولات و حملات در تهران ما بگه چه بوده در گذشته. پشت فرودگاه مهرآباد چند تا انفجار داشتیم در چیتگر، همینطور در بابایی، بولوار امیرکبیر.
الان نزدیکای نوروز.
We are nearing Nowruz and it has been more than 2 months since the massacre in Iran. The attack by the US and Israel on the Islamic Republic began on February 28th. In the first attack, Ali Khamenei and several of his commanders, whose hands are stained with the blood of the people over these 47 years, were all killed. Right now, we journalists of Iran International are all busy covering the war news, but that doesn't mean at all that we could forget the massacre that took place on the 18th and 19th of January in Iran. We will continue documenting and will continue narrating the events that happened to the people, and we will not remain silent, and we will keep talking about what happened in Iran on those 2 days.
مشهد 18 دی‌ماه 1404 کاملا شهر در اختیار مردم شده. هیچ کس نیست، فقط دست مردم.
The protests in Mashhad on the 18th, 19th and the 20th. Religious and non-religious, men and women, old and young, all holding hands and coming to the streets to chant in a city where the Islamic Republic thinks it has a lot of power. Its people support them. This crowd showed that this was no longer the case.
Mashhad 19 به فرمان شاهزاده
اون طرف وکیل‌آباد کلی آدمه.
It started on the 18th from the Vakilabad Boulevard.
Mashhad 18 دی Vakilabad.
A flood of people entered Vakilabad Boulevard. There were gatherings in various places in Mashhad, including Sajjad, Ahmedabad and Rahnamai Street, all of which had gatherings. However, the killings were not as extensive as in Vakilabad Boulevard and 7th of Tir. They had dropped off most of their forces in Park Square across from the National Broadcaster Building and the provincial office. They wanted to protect them. People who were coming from Emamad, from the Sayyad Bridge, from the 7th of Tir, from every direction towards Vakilabad Boulevard, could see plainclothes officers setting up ambushes in the alleyways.
بیاین کنار بیاین کنار.
چیز زد موتور زد برو زنه دیدی؟
آره.
کلوش هستشه. نکنی بیرانه.
The special forces came from the end of Mellat Park by the Park Square with their armoured vehicles and blocked Vakilabad Boulevard and started shooting at the people from there. They placed snipers on the Sayad Bridge, on the rooftops of buildings and restaurants, and began shooting at the people. Everyone began to flee in the opposite direction, and from the surrounding alleys, motorcyclists, snipers, officers with machetes, knives started moving towards Vakilabad Boulevard. This citizen told us, when we were running, I saw people falling to the ground, their shoes coming off, falling to one side. They were either dropping down dead or injured. We were all fleeing in different directions, but everyone moved towards the 7th of Tir.
ماشاءالله 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 پل هفته تیر مشهد 18 دیما پل هفته تیر تیر خورده هفته تیر 18 هم تیر خورد.
The 7th of Tir Boulevard became the killing grounds of the people, a killing ground where they started shooting at the people from the top of the police station.
خیلی هفته تیر داره میزنه فقط چند نفر تا الان تیر خوردن.
The people were empty-handed. They didn't have any arms. They were shot from above the police station in such a way that all you could hear in the videos were just, "They killed him. He fell." They had picked up a container of some sort and were using it for protection to move forward on the ground and save other people.
بیمارستان چیزی کجا ببرمش
They had lit some fires because of the tear gas that was being shot at them. They told us that the firefighters had been ordered that on that night they were not allowed to extinguish any fires, not allowed to help the people, not allowed to answer any phone calls. This was why Hamid Mahdavi chose the people, to be on the side of the people. Hamid Mahdavi was exactly there in 7th of Tir Boulevard, carrying the injured and taking them to safer areas, to alleyways, so they could save them, take them home, call their families, transfer them to hospital, and he would go back again and again. The last time he returned after dropping off an injured person at the top of the road, on his way back, he was shot and killed on the spot.
اعتراض برادر من عزیز من اعتراضش چی؟ یه آبباری که میاد خدا رو شکر راضی هستی یه موقع اعتراض نکنین و اخراج میشین.
He had an Instagram page where he had published many videos of himself. He was happy and hopeful for the future. You could truly feel in his videos someone who loved life and loved the people around him and everyone. After a few days, Hamid Mahdavi's body was handed over to his family. He was buried in the village of Darvar, part of the municipality of Damghan. The initial images were very painful and strange, but the people went all out for Hamid Mahdavi's 40th day commemorations. After they didn't allow mourning in the mosque, they held the ceremony at his graveside. The Islamic Republic killed over 36,500 people, meaning over 36,500 families. They thought they could eliminate everyone, instill fear in them, and keep them in their place. But when the 40th day ceremonies of the departed began, the families showed that no such thing had happened at all. Najafabad is one of the cities with a rich political history, and on the 8th of January they experienced a bitter night. In this city, men and women, old and young, and children, holding each other's hands, were moving towards the market. They said, as we were just walking, suddenly we heard gunfire. Muhammad Goli was a firefighter whose fire engine was parked in the square. He drove his vehicle close and parked it in front of the people, creating a barricade so that people could escape. But they didn't stop shooting incessantly towards the people. They rapid-fired at Muhammad Goli's vehicle because, according to what we were told, they had placed machine guns in the main street to shoot at all people, and so casualties in Najafabad were substantial. Muhammad Goli was a heroic firefighter who was sitting in his vehicle, positioning it and providing cover for the people so they wouldn't be killed. But you can see the bullet holes all over his fire engine. You can see how this man lost his life in his vehicle. The true tragedy of Najafabad started here, as people came to pick up the injured from the ground and take them to the hospital, to Montazeri Hospital. The place was full of injured people on beds, the floor. The nurses and doctors didn't know how to help, and they were truly compassionately performing surgeries, nursing them in beds, administering intravenous fluids.
نم صدق تیر انداز مجدد بعد جور دارن میزنن مردمو فعلا ده خدا حافظ ما برنگشتیم راهی ما رو ادامه بدیم جاوید شاه
Najafabad was not the only city in Isfahan province that got caught up in this revolution. The city of Isfahan itself didn't spare any casualties either. According to the information that reached Iran International, people had started moving from the Hakim Nazemi intersection and Western Nazar towards the Khaju bridge. On the other side, people were also slowly moving from the metal bridge and the National Broadcaster building, and they were all coming together.
اصفهان میدان علی خانی کل فردوسی اصفهان 18/10 همینجوری جمعیت داره اضافه میشه ساعت 10 شب.
They had stationed their equipment and forces in Baharistan, ready for the first stage of the operation to take shape, for people to come onto the bridge so they could take them from both sides and start shooting. What we were told was that they had placed machine guns on Khaju bridge and were shooting at people from there. They said the same thing about Borj Square. The only escape route people could take was through the Zayandarud dry riverbed. Some of the injured were there, while other people were fleeing from that area. The difference between this protest and others was that when the call was made, they all went together. Families went together, mothers, fathers and children. There was nothing to hide from each other, and families didn't confront each other. They even went with children in their arms, with prams. There were pregnant women. That's why so many 10, 13 and 14-year-olds were among the victims. People just didn't think they would come under such intense fire. Among them was one of the youngest victims of this story, Ghazal Jan Ghorban, who was only 15 years old. She was a distinguished computer science student who went to these protests with her parents. While crossing the bridge, she was hit by 3 bullets. Ghazal died in the same hospital where she was born, and her father named her after the river Zayanderud, daughter of Zayanderud. Ghazal had a cat which was her only memento for her mother. She takes Ghazal's cat to her grave because the cat misses her. She was a lone child. I don't really know what history will later write about this massacre, but I am sure this grief and the courage of the people will be remembered differently. This mourning dance, this cheering, this standing up against the dictatorship that has shot at unarmed people, and they show with their applause and cheers for the eternal memory of the lost that they are not afraid, and that they are fighting for freedom, for our future, for the next generation to eliminate a dictator. That will definitely be remembered.
تولد 24 سالگی پسر منه. نمیدونم این چه حکمتیه. من از خدا میخوام اون خدایی که منو فراموش کرده نمیتونه فراموش کرده. من خدا میخوام که این مملکت ما رو از شر این ظلم و فساد، ظلم و شروع، ظلم و تباهی هر چه زودتر رها بکنه.
پل 7 تیر مشهد، جایی که 18 و 19 دی‌ماه بیشترین خون ریخته شد و اما امشب همزمان به درک واصل شدن خامنه‌ای همه تو خیابون روی همون پل سوت میزنن، جشن میگیرن. زنده باد ایران و ایرانی.
سر بلندم و میمانم و انقلاب ما سوگند به عاشقان ایران،
مبارک باشه سرنگونی زخم، مبارک باشه
روز کوچه واسه ما